All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music in real time for a few real people out there just like you and just like me. So, doing a little research this morning, and I wrote down this question in the process because I'm going to all these classic rock radio station websites and different things to just see what's going on in the world of rock music. And the question that I wrote down this morning, because sometimes I forget things and it's just getting old, right? So, why do classic rock radio stations promote new music that they themselves won't play? This is a really interesting dilemma because, like, six corporations own pretty much everything or are tied together. Then you got these other funding sources at the higher level. And it all leads back, by the way, to the governments of various countries. Anyway, I didn't want to go down that road with this video. I want to specifically talk about the music. Now, the Scorpions, great band, by the way. Do I like them? Of course I like them. All right. Every so often, someone will say, hey, how come you never talk about the Scorpions? Okay, here we go. So they've got a brand new song out that is being promoted on classic rock radio websites. Shining of Your Soul is their latest single. They had another tune a few weeks back, The Rock Believer, which is the title track of their new album, which drops on February 25th. Go grab yourself a copy because Klaus still sounds like Klaus. Klaus is the same, one of those vocalists who vocally has not changed or aged. I mean, you hear it and you go, oh, it's what, 1982? I mean, seriously, this guy sounds great. The lyrics of the song are good. They're interesting. The radio station says that this is something that you need to go listen to, and they provide you a link to the video. They're a radio station, then they're telling you, here's what you do, right? You're cruising down the road and you're listening to our radio station, but take a breather, click on this link and go listen to Shining of Your Soul, which is on YouTube, Spotify, and the usual places. Oh, by the way, a little quick side note. Because of Joe Rogan, I've decided to pull all of my music off of Spotify. So I want to let everybody know who's watching that I will not be streaming any of my... You're saying, what? Yeah, I'm a little weird this morning. So no, none of my music has been pulled from Spotify because I have no music on Spotify. Okay, just want to clarify. Some people, do you sing? No, I don't. You don't want to hear me sing. I think I have sung once here on the channel, and it was not a fun experience for me or the listening audience, the viewing audience. That is something I should not do ever again. So Shining of Your Soul is about that emotion you may experience when someone enters the room and you sense an aura that makes everything else fade into the background, according to Klaus. So they're telling you about what the song means. They're showing you, they're giving you a link where you can find the song, and they're a radio station. Hey, it's like we're a supermarket, right? And we have all this food, but we have a very narrow selection of food. So we're going to tell you about this other food that is over there across the street, and you go over there and you can get that food over there. Well, why don't you guys just provide the food? Well, our manager doesn't like new food. He refuses. He thinks nobody will shop here if we carry this new food by the old companies that have made the food that has been on the shelves for decades, right? Analogy, boom, right? Good analogy, Dave. Well, not too bad. 1 cup of coffee. I wish I had another one at this point. But this speaks to this larger problem. Anybody over 50 who isn't just locked in to all the music they heard when they were 20, right? Like 30 years ago, or even 35 years ago, or however old you were when, your musical interests kind of peaked. I mean, it does decline apparently as the years go on, because you think to yourself, hey, I've got enough music, I can just go back and listen to Foreigner 4 again, and that's cool, that's fine. But imagine having Foreigner 4 and then having this new song by the Scorpions, and then having this other song by the Scorpions that you don't hear on the radio too often. Now they've focus tested the Scorpions down to like 1 or 2 tracks. Rock You Like a Hurricane. Are you tired of hearing? I'm actually kind of tired of Rock You Like a Hurricane. All right. No One Like You, another great song by the Scorpions. Less tired of it, but still kind of tired of it. How about The Rhythm of Love, right? How about Winds of Change? You want to really shake someone's car up when they're driving? Put on The Rhythm of Love and watch them try to keep the car on the road. Like, whoa, what? Of course, then, you know, the corporate types, they would be thinking at that moment, hey, they're going to switch the station. This is a dud. This wasn't a hit. Just like the guys on YouTube. This wasn't a hit. It was a hit. It wasn't a hit on Billboard Top 40. It was like maybe top 100, top 50, whatever. But it wasn't like beaten into the ground on top 40. Dave, it's not familiar. These people are going to struggle with this. They're going to reach for that preset button, which is now conveniently located on the steering wheel of their car. And what are you saying here? Are you saying that we should just, you know, power through and force them to like this? Well, keep in mind, back in the day, songs that first were heard by many people weren't really loved all that much until they got a second or third or fourth or 10th listen. You know, it took a little while sometimes, and people would go, okay. I mean, sometimes you liked things the first time you heard it. You were like, that's a hit. That's a super duper hit. Other times you're like, yeah, that's okay. Then you heard it again. You're like, ooh, I like that guitar solo. I mean, Scorpions, such melodic guitar solos. I mean, what a great melodic band. And I know another reason, you know, they'd rather promote like the Foo Fighters, or as my friend likes to call them, the Poo-Fizers, because they're working for the man. But, you know, they would rather promote that than talk about this old German band. And I don't understand why that is, because a lot of people like this old German band. And they're still really good and they sound incredible. A lot of times you'll hear a new song by an old artist and you can't even really tell it's them, because either their voice has changed or try listening to some new John Bon Jovi music or Bon Jovi music. Try that. That's a little different. That's you're gonna say, huh, something's not quite right here. It doesn't sound like the Bon Jovi I grew up listening to. You go and listen to the Scorpions, you're gonna be like, damn, that's like the same thing. It's like the year 2022, and it could be, you know, 1982. And again, Klaus, he sings really well. So good for him. It's a great song, but this is a question for radio programmers across the country. And again, I know your hands are tied. This is what you have to play. You're just following orders. By the way, this is something that's happening throughout our society. The police are just following orders, right? The medical community, they're just following orders. There is a correlation. I know people are thinking this is a stretch right now. The music industry, they're just following orders. Everybody is just following orders. Nobody does critical thinking. Nobody says to themselves, you know what, there's some really good art out there. There's some really good music out there, and we're not playing it or promoting it. Maybe we should start doing that. Oh, no. Just go with the flow. That way we get more ad revenue. That way, you know, we get free tickets to all these shows. Here's another thing. Say the Scorpions go on tour, right? They're not going to play. In the old days, if a band went on tour, they would beat their new song into the ground to prep you for the concert. Again, this was just great cross promotion. You know, Scorpions, they got a brand new song out and we're going to play it because they're coming to town on August 5th or whatever. And that's how we used to do it. And it was exciting. It was cool. People got pumped up for the show. They were more inclined to listen to the new song and not change the station, because they knew in a couple of weeks they were going to go to that show and they wanted to know the song so they could sing along at the show or just kind of enjoy it. Anyway, these are questions that need to be answered. and they won't be, because again, the rock media is very complicit in aiding and abetting all of this stuff. And I'm not sure why that is. It makes being a fan of this music at times feel like a lonely endeavor. By the way, the Scorpions will kick off their 2022 tour in support of the Rock Believer album with a 9-date Las Vegas residency in Zappos Theater at Planet Hollywood from March the 26th through April the 16th. So yeah, this would be a perfect time to get these new songs on the radio. And lastly, people have come back and said, Dave, that's why we have Spotify, brother. How come you're just not into Spotify? I have the Spotify subscription. The corporate radio listening experience, though, is different, because when you get in the car, you get a certain kind of validation from terrestrial radio. If everybody corporately is kind of forced to listen to the same thing, and I mean, you can always change the station, but they're promoting something and you're thinking, ooh, this must be good if they're putting this on the air. And you have that collective experience of, hey, it came out at this time, this year when this was going on in the world. I mean, Winds of Change for a lot of people is a very important song, and it should be. It's an amazing song, and it marked a certain historical event that people were like, wow, this is a cool event. This is a cool song. But nowadays, we don't have any of that. I mean, nowadays, it's all, you do your thing over here, I'll do my thing over here. Nobody has kind of a corporate, communal listening experience anymore. Everybody's just doing their own thing, and there's no continuity to it. You may be listening to the new Scorpions album and loving it, and someone else doesn't even know about it. And they would probably benefit from knowing about it. Again, it's like there's no informed consent in the music industry anymore. It's just like, hey, we'll talk about the song, but we're not going to play it. Huh? How come you're not going to play it? Well, again, that would take DJing too, because you'd have to at least drop a liner in there and announce the song. And they're not doing that stuff. They are doing PSAs and community calendar. The community calendar brought to you by Myers Insurance Company. And it's like, okay, how about you talk about what you just played? See, everybody knows all the old songs, so they just assume, yeah, we don't need to back sell, front sell. You might have a radio station that tells you what is coming up this hour. It's already been pre-programmed. They just look at the list. If you had a request, they wouldn't slip it in there because, their list has already been made, and they're just going to play what's on that list. It's on a computer. It plays automatically. The DJ is a hindrance to the computer. At some point, I think everything is going to go automated. I know these morning shows, people are doing the show from their house, or they're doing it from another radio station, and they're taking clips from that show and mingling it in with the radio station that you're listening to. And you have no idea that it's a syndicated thing, or it's just somebody else, or this person you think is only big in your market, but yet they're big in all these other markets. And you're like, huh, I thought this was our morning show guy. And actually he's in 4 other cities doing the morning show there. And he's not mentioning anything about the city or the temperature or anything like that. So again, it's really easy to be fooled when technology is this good. And it is this good, but it is ruining so many things. So in any event, that's my long-winded video. Why do classic rock radio stations promote new music that they themselves will not play?